Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to this afternoon's stream. This afternoon I'm doing a secret project. I'm not going to be able to talk a lot about what I'm doing because it's a secret present. It's a present, well, it's not a secret. Well, it is. It's a secret present from my wife. My wife is in the next room, so she can hear what's going on. So I can't say what I'm doing because then she'd know what it is. She knows I'm doing it, but not what it is. So for everybody else, that's what it is. Yeah. Oh, it's in there. Okay. At first I thought one of those was missing. That I got for the other thing that I made yesterday. But I can now actually see it's tucked away inside this little bag here. Just there. So it's not so bad. So I'm just reading the instructions for a moment. Okay. Right, well, now I understand. This should be actually quite simple to do. It's very similar to what I was doing yesterday. I'm just going to see if I've got a paper clip, so I shall be back in a moment. No, unfortunately I don't. It's one of those funny things, isn't it, that paper clips, for example, you always have hundreds of paper clips in the bottom of drawers and things until you want one. and then when you want one they just vanish, and that's what's happened to me. Amaleth, good afternoon. Welcome to the stream. I shall attempt to do that. Now I've just what I've realised in reading the instructions is this is almost the same as what I was doing yesterday, with a slight variation. So it's not going. Doesn't look like it's going to be too hard for me to do. So it's going to be that colour with these in between. Now then, what I'm going to do is I'll have to use that as a paper clip or something like that. I might get a. Actually, I've got a piece of wire. Let me pinch a piece of wire, at least for the moment. They never tell you about all the extra little tiny tools that you want to use. Oh, she doesn't use either, but I've got a cable tie. I can actually also just use that just to hold on to, but I finished the one yesterday, by the way. I shall ow, that didn't hurt, it just felt like it should. That's I finished yesterday, and I put that on the end of it, and it seemed a little short, so I extended it a little bit with some might change those, they look like a different colour, but yep, so that's one of them. And now doing that is as that. Sorry, my wife's around. I'm trying to avoid giving away anything, but there we go. I shall put that just. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm going to leave that just in shot. We'll leave that there. So my hands are sore from used to these pliers, these tools are not very nice. This may well be the last time I use them without doing serious surgery on them to remove those springs. They are terrible. I will be ordering a new pair later well, actually a couple of pairs later today. It's like I was saying with the chisels. It's all about good tools. Gotta have decent tools. It's worth investing in tools. And I thought these didn't look too bad, but actually having them in my hand, they are terrible. They've made my hand basically sore. It's not too bad, but it is basically sore, which is not great. I didn't actually, because they're in America, and one thing we have to watch out for in the UK is for import tax, because we get if it's of a sufficient quantity coming through customs, we'll get charged 20% VAT, and then on top, and that's including the postage cost, and then on top of that you get charged an import tax, which can be anything up to 20, depending on what it is, anything up to 20%. So prices can be quite expensive. What Eddie Fall guy pointed me at quite nicely was a supplier in the UK for, sorry, a distributor in the UK. That's probably a better way of describing it. So yes, they are from that, the pliers, as you've recognised, is from that company. I don't know whether the kits are or not, but the pliers certainly are. And you can buy them from there, which I didn't realise at the time, but I do because it says so on the pliers, as I guess you saw. Yeah, it's not so bad if you're importing sort of a few hundred or even I guess a few £1,000s worth. Then it sort of works out, I guess. And the other alternative, of course, if it's really small, it's like there is a limit, a lower limit. So if it's like $10, or I forgot what the actual limit is, but if it's something like, let's say, just say $10 value, including the postage, then they don't bother. It's not worth them even attempting to collect it. But anything sort of parcel sized certainly goes through customs, has to be declared and everything else. So we in the UK tend, if we can avoid it, not to use American suppliers just for that reason. It's a bit like I'm going to say you guys over there. With your sales tax, all your prices are excluding tax, and then you get another 20% added on at the till. Looks cheap until you actually pay. I don't know how you get on with these then, Amelith, because this spring is really terrible. I mean, that I can close it easily to that point, and then I start having to apply a real lot of force, and I'm still at this point I can probably just about clasp a ring, but then I have to apply a heck of a lot more force, and I shouldn't need to do that, because that's just to overcome this spring. These are electronic pliers. They're still a smooth one, but I can close these with my little finger, and they're fully closed. So the spring is just enough to open them without applying any force. To close these, I kind of need to use all my hand to close them, which isn't really good, because that's really putting a lot of pressure on there. It's bruising them effectively. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was trying. I was trying that. These are in really well. I'm going to have to break them off, I think. I'm actually going to order some different ones from a different supplier. These are normally they're just held in place by the plastic, and but I just cannot persuade these to come out. I don't want to cut the plastic off, really. Tell you what, I'm going to go for this. I don't want them in. I'm not going to use these otherwise again. I'm not going to send them back. It's not worth doing that, but all right. major tool surgery on stream. If nothing else, let's just... Well, that's a lot better for a start. I'll try that. I did try adjusting the bends. Yeah, I even tried heat on the plastic to try and push them down, because pushing them down will loosen off the spring. Basically, just too much metal in there. Now they're a lot. I can, as you can see, I can almost close those now with my little finger. What's stopping it now is this one against this spring. That one on its own is just enough to hold, to spring it open, so I don't have to hold them like that, which is a little bit awkward to do. That's I've got when I'm doing electronics, I'll normally hold them so like that, and I can there's just enough spring with my fingers to just open them, but these are a bit too fine for using on these. As well, these are a little bit as well, but they're not too bad. I now wish I could get this out, but see if I can bend it out of the way. There we go. That's still could still do with being a bit more out of the way, but at this point that's more than I need to hold, so that's great. Eddie Fall Guy, let me see if I can find it. Thank you, computer. There we go. That one. This is eBay in the UK. And it's a shop on there. It's a physical shop, but the website isn't very good. But Eddie Fall Guy uses those, and they look like not a bad set. They could end up being the same sort of problem with the spring, depending on just how good it is, but they actually don't look too bad a set from the image. Whether the image is true is another matter, but from the image they don't look too bad a set, and they look to have quite a large chunky handle, which should hopefully be a bit softer on the hand, so to speak. Actually, I was looking through quite a few tool suppliers yesterday, trying to find something that looked like it would have reasonably large sort of handles and be relatively soft to hold, but still be able to put a lot of pressure on. This has made a big difference. So far at this bit anyway, I'm using a heck of a lot less force. They've become almost comfortable. Mind you, I still don't think much to the quality of them, to be honest. Because when I look at these, the jaws aren't even aligned. You might not be able to see that, but there's a larger gap at this side than there is at this side. The two jaws aren't aligned to each other. So depending depending on which side you get hold of something at, it starts to slip if you don't put enough pressure on, which of course you don't really want to be doing. You want these things flat. Because that will start to nick the surface. Oh god, I am thick, you know. I was just thinking back over your earlier comment about the 3 sizes, and for some reason it didn't occur to, it was because I was actually watching somebody on the internet making rings, yeah, finger rings with these, and I just realised you meant 3 different sizes of these. Okay, let's make a start. Okay, we'll try that again. Welcome to anybody else that's watching. I'm sorry I'm a little I am unable to say much about what I'm doing because, as it says at the top of the screen, this is a birthday present for my wife, and she's working in the other room, just nearby, and should be able to hear what I'm saying. So I don't really want to say too much, which will give it away. She knows I'm making something because she knows she needs to not. I am silly. Oh well, I'll do it that way now. Yeah, she knows she needs to not to just sort of drop in and start looking around, but other than that, so that'll be like that. So it does mean I can't say a lot about what I'm doing, but I can try and be a little bit cryptic. Did I actually open these rings? Yes, I did. Oops. It's so easy to accidentally say things. I do have to be careful. What am I trying to do? Dear. I'm completely new to this, by the way. This is, well, it's the third stream of me doing this. But the sort of the first time I've tried this craft. The first time I tried this craft was yesterday. And 2 streams yesterday, and this is what got made yesterday. This thing here. So, oops, there's it. So this got made on 2 streams yesterday, and this also is a present, so I'm not saying what it is, but you guys can see, I hope, what it is. And today what I'm making is this. I'm using that, doing that one, not this one. I like that colour better, and I hope my wife likes that colour better. But having tried this out for the first time yesterday, I really enjoyed what I was doing, so I will probably end up doing more of it. Only after her birthday I'll be able to speak about it a lot more easily on stream, or when she's not around. That's not too bad when she's not around. So that's the first section, and now I just, as they say, rinse and repeat. I could actually make this a little bit faster for myself if I do a little bit of preparatory work first. I've done a little bit. But I need these objects need to be slightly different. These are like this. These are not. Okay, so what I'm doing is making that wider, but making this one narrower, because when they arrive, see if I can pick a single one up from one around in here somewhere. No. Oh, there we go. Turn it around. See if I can get a bit closer to the camera. Focus it in so you guys can see a little bit. Come on, where's my... Actually, I'll zoom it in a bit rather than focusing in a bit. There you go. This is how they arrive, like that. As you can see, small space there. It needs to be larger in order to pass through, and then having done that, they then get made like that. So there is a tiny gap in there that you can't see, but it's just on the top. What I'm doing is making some like this and some like this, which will just make things a little bit quicker for me in making this. So how's that for being cryptic in telling you exactly what I'm doing without actually saying what it is I'm doing? I'll zoom back out again now because otherwise it's quite hard to keep this under the camera, and such a tight shot's probably quite boring for you to see. So there we go. And you quite often have arrived like this, and this is just in the bag, they just get that way. Do for a little bit, just carry on. There's only a few there, I'll need more than that, but come on. There we go. That wants to be a little bit wider. There we go. I have great big hands, I'm guessing, which makes this a little bit more awkward to do. There we go. No, that's not quite right. In fact, yeah, it's okay. Now a little bit of folding. Thank you. A beautiful wife there, just indicating she's around so that she doesn't accidentally hear something she shouldn't. She's really nice of her. There we go, we're starting to get somewhere. And then back to the folding. Yeah, well. There we go. That's the result you get. It's just keeping on doing that. Phantom Blight's good afternoon. Welcome to the studio this afternoon, or good morning, I guess, in your case there. How's it going today? Not too bad, thank you. I'm personally feeling a bit better, but I'm also being a little bit cryptic, I'm afraid, because I'm making this, and my wife, it's a present for my wife. She knows I'm making her a present, so she's letting me know when she's around, and she's in the other room at the moment. I'm actually making that there. So because she can easily hear in the other room, it's a bit difficult for me to sort of describe what I'm doing or to say much about what I'm doing without being too cryptic, I'm afraid, which is what I'm doing now, of course. But it's kind of fun in a way, because I can drop hints, or I can start to say some things which she's got no idea what I'm talking about, but will once she knows what it is that she gets when her birthday arrives. So it's quite fun in a way, is this? I'm just making that space a bit larger because I was having a bit of problem with them. I don't have much experience of doing this, so learning as I'm going along. Although I've already been modifying my tools from yesterday. So let's have a few more things. We can have fun tweaking her curiosity. Okay, let's carry on a little bit more. Oh, I won't let you hear anything I don't want you to hear. But what you do hear, darling, might not have anything to do with what I'm doing. Nails help quite a bit in this, I've discovered. Or at least at the moment, for picking things up. Yeah, learning is always a good thing. That's definitely that's what I like doing. That's what keeps me going, so to speak. Is learning new things all the time. And yes, it does have to be just Jessup. You're perfectly correct there. Okay, I give up. There we go. That'll make it easier still. This is where frustration sits in, when you just can't get hold of something quite how you want it to do. That's when you need patience. Okay, I'm just going to prepare a few more of these. Alright, stay there then. Okay, so she's just gone downstairs for the moment, so I can explain what I'm just doing here is closing up a few of these rings. Just makes it a little bit easier, because by doing it here, then when it's actually on the piece, I could do it with them all the open rings, but it's just a little bit easier to close them when they're loose, rather than having to do it whilst holding the item itself. Therefore it saves a little bit of time, and I'm actually quite surprised at how quick it's going. Especially since essentially I'm doing the same as I did with the necklace, but that it's essentially the same weave, but with a slight variation on it, shall we say, and that for some reason either I've got used to doing it, or that variation just seems to make it feel as though it's going a lot quicker. Yep, it's okay. And one more. Right. You are correct, Just Jessup. No, my wife does not watch my streams. I actually think, well, she's kind of says she doesn't understand why people do it. Or even why people would want to watch somebody doing it. So which type of pliers are best? I don't have a lot of experience to be able to answer that question. I can answer it from the point of view of what I'm learning here. I guess. All of these are smooth jaws, so there's no serrations on the inside. Okay, and that's important so that it doesn't mark things. The idea of the flat is, if I get hold of one, you've got a large contact area to hold things with. These, if I pick another pair here which is in more extreme, you can see how fine they are. So if you're trying to get hold of something like that, you're more likely to bend, sort of twist, rather than, what you should do is bend it over a fairly wide area, if you like, so that it lies flat afterwards. Whereas if you with these, you're going to tend to sort of bend it in the wrong place, shall we say. So I'm assuming, or I'm believing that a wider nose on these would be good. The pointy bit, however, is quite useful, because, for example, when I was doing this, I can use the where otherwise you might need to use something like a cocktail stick or a piece of wire. Because this is quite a fine nose on these, I can actually just use the pliers. One of the things I am finding is important, though, is the springs. These on this were real. Well, they were really strong springs, shall we say, and badly adjusted, really, because these are, on this they're a really nice spring. I can close these with my little finger, and I can put pressure on with my little finger. Not quite enough for this, but you know, I can put a decent amount of pressure on. As these as they come, like this. Okay, that's as far as I can get with my little finger, and that doesn't hold anything, whereas that does, as you can see. So I was having to use the whole of my hand, which has made my fingers bruised somewhat or so. So I've done some surgery on these, and that by removing one of the springs, it's somewhat softer now. So I can now close them up to almost closed. Not quite, but almost. But that is easily enough, he says, trying to put it in there to hold like that, just using my little finger. And what that means is that the pressure I'm applying when I apply it is just purely to hold this, not to hold the spring. You know, so since I did this on this stream, these have been a heck of a lot more comfortable, but still not fantastic. I'm actually hopefully going to order a pair that's got a lot thicker grip on it, which should be a lot more softer and comfortable to hold. These weren't particularly cheap, but they weren't particularly expensive either. But I'm not, you know, that spring, if you like, has seriously put me off those. If they'd have been like this, I probably wouldn't have been too bad with them. But I'm guessing probably after, well, certainly after a few hours. Of course, yesterday I made my hand sore, so whether now that I've adjusted these it'll be better, I'm not sure. But I'm actually going to order a pair that's got a big chunkier handle. But it's probably about half the width on the nose, so they're a tapered nose. Right, so another one of these. Hopefully that answered the question. It is indeed, yes. I mean, I don't watch television now. I watch this. I think she kind of potentially understands creative a little bit more than games. But I mean, I find it kind of funny in a way, because of course, well, this is kind of more like reality TV, isn't it? Or you know, if you're going to compare it to a television program, something like How Do They Do That, or something, a program of that sort of style. Whereas sort of watching the games is often more a case of you know, like watching a soap opera or a drama, perhaps, depending on the game, of course. That ring may snap. In fact, I'm going to put that one to one side for the moment. And that one's put itself to one side. Let me pick that up if I can find it. Yep. You see, I don't like wasting anything. So even stuff that goes on the floor, I pick it up. And patience. Patience is required. Okay, that ring wants. Now that object needs to be a bit more work done on it. There you go, that's better. They need to line up to be smooth. Oh, that's cool, phantom blades. I can make, I can't design. Well, certainly not something like that, that's for sure. I have in the past made a couple of shirts, and I can knit as well, so I've made jumpers. Never, well, apart from the fact it might seem a bit odd to have made dresses, but never done any design stuff like that. It's an amazing ability to be able to do that sort of thing. If I'm not careful, I'll get frustrated doing this. Just with things like that, jumping off the table and trying to get away, and then dropping things and Kitty Cakes 55. Good evening, welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the local time is. Welcome to the studio today. Hey, different levels of skills, or different skills, isn't it? You can design, I can sew, but of course things like that are easy with a machine anyway, but my wife is going out to do some, no, wrong colour, do some gardening, so in a minute or two we'll be able to have a reasonably free discussion for a while. I'll at least be able to say what it is I'm doing. Right, okay, so I fold them over there and pop them up through the middle, which forms the box-like structure and the shape, which is quite pretty. And if you're new to the stream today, I made this yesterday, which is a necklace. Actually, apart from the fact it had different sized rings, it's almost exactly the same thing as this, except these are kind of like small sections joined together with the gold, whereas these just continuously went from one to the next. And it's amazing just how, you know, creating that gold separator there just changes the style, you know, from this, which is called Byzantine, to that which is called box. So they look more like stacked things, these look more like a chain. Absolutely amazing, and it's just just the extra insertion of a ring or two rings that make it look different. Come along now, don't start making me all frustrated. There we go. This is all this is all about practice. I am getting a little odd moments. I get a little bit frustrated when it just won't quite go where you want it to go, but that's just practice, knowing, and possibly, you know, some slightly less pointy pliers would help. KittyCakes55, thank you very much for following the studio. That is most excellent of you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I should perhaps let you know that I don't do this all the time though. In fact, this is only the second time of me doing this. I did it for the first time yesterday when I created the other piece. Whilst I will be doing more of this, it won't be for a little while. Once this piece is done, I'll be doing some. Well, I do all sorts of other things. I do carving. Relief carving. I do a scraper board. I also do pyrography and some punchcraft as well. So I'll now be adding this to that list as in addition, because I'm finding that I enjoy doing this as well. So I do a varied amount of things. I kind of like to keep changing, because that way I don't get bored. I know some of you guys like to watch the same thing all the time, and actually so do I for that matter. But in doing it, it's nice to change up, even for example, just to let my hand recover, because this tool that I was using here yesterday, I've done some adjustment on it today, but yesterday it required quite a lot of pressure to close, and my hand is a little bit sore, so it will need some time to recover. If this wasn't for a birthday present, I'd be doing something else. I'd be doing some punchcraft now. Can't at the moment, well, can't this afternoon do any carving. I'm hoping I'll be able to do some tonight, but I want to finish this anyway. I did have some minor surgery last week, from which I am still recovering, but it affects my stomach muscles. And when you're carving, which is what I'm currently doing on stream, when you're carving, you actually, surprisingly, and I didn't realise until afterwards, that you use quite a bit of stomach muscles, if only just to stabilise your body whilst you're carving. So but anyway, enough of the medical stuff. And just opening up some more rings so that they're ready to be used straight away. So the gold ones, and these are lilac, so I'll open up some more lilac, and actually I'll open and close some more lilac. By closing them first, it saves me trying to do that, actually holding the bracelet, which does seem to be a little bit slippery. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, I mean these are aluminium rings. They've then been anodized, which is a dye and acid based process. Although these are possibly gold plated, I'm not sure. You might, well, aluminium itself is quite a warm metal. It's not like iron, which feels cold when you touch it. Aluminium is cool, but it's not cold. But it feels, because of the weave, I guess, and the fact that they're shiny, it feels amazingly soft. It feels like a soft jumper, almost a fluffy jumper. And as you can see, it's amazingly flexible. But it's well, I'm finding it quite a fun craft to do. Subject of course to my hand recovering, and probably me buying another couple of pairs of pliers more suitable to doing, or well, these are suitable for doing this, but I don't particularly like the holding them. But these are a little bit too pointy, or I'm finding they're a little bit too pointy. Don't have a lot of experience in this, as I say. I only started doing this yesterday. Oh dear. Making sure that the ring lines up as much as I can, so you don't catch yourself on it, or it doesn't catch on itself as you're moving the bracelet apart, about, because that may tend to make the rings open up, and then of course it'll fall apart. But also I'm told it makes the ring stronger. Right, I'm sorry I'm not keeping up with chat really, so let me have a look at chat. Well, kitties are always cute, no matter whether it's a name or an animal. Phantom Blades. Yeah, that is the problem. Somebody who makes good instructions for the kits. Well, I was about to say I'll make a fortune, but I'm not actually sure that's true. But when I started this yesterday, I must have spent about 20 minutes trying to understand them. Now, ultimately, the instructions are, once you know what you're doing, the instructions are really accurate, shall we say, and it's relatively simple. What you end up doing, but it was showing it with two colours of rings, and then all it said was, if you want to use other colours, you introduce them from step 3. And you go, and I was going like, well, yeah, but how do I introduce them from step 3? Which rings do I change the colour of, or and it wasn't, well, I got it wrong to start with, but I sort of had to start doing it and then see, hey, that didn't look right, and then start again. And it didn't help that the instructions for the necklace were actually for a bracelet, same design but a bracelet, so it's talking about them being 7 inches long and things like that. I'm thinking, have they sent me the wrong kit? And all they needed to do is just change a couple of things in the leaflet, and it would have been a lot more. Well, to start with, it wouldn't have worried me over the same bracelet when I bought a necklace and things like that. But just saying, if you want to add colour, then use your colour at this point. would have been a lot simpler. I don't think it was as warm outside as my wife thought it was. I think she's just come back in. So we may be back to secret squirrel mode. Alternatively, she may be going out the back door. Four. 6. Let's do another 2 of these, then we'll do some more ring weaving. And since I have that one in my hand, I shall continue and use that one. They can still be cute. What you've got there actually is a problem with probably a couple of cats, if nothing else, vying for dominance. Cats are, generally speaking, really fastidious about, when they go to the toilet, covering it up so there's no smell at all. Because sugar. Because they're like most animals, they're worried about predators. The only time they don't do that is when there's another cat which is trying to be dominant, and that's one of the ways in which they do it. The instructions came with the kit in this particular case. So I mean, the ones I'm doing here, it's just literally just a single sheet. This one isn't too bad in terms of there's not a great deal of pictures. It could do with sort of having a bit more pictures, but this one at least sort of does tell you which colours to use. You pick your colours. And then it tells you which of these have to be which colour and when to use them again. So you can actually see this because it's 2 colours. You can also see it in the pictures here. If I show you I've got the other ones for the necklace. They just used 2 colours. And they never sort of showed you, if I turn it over, they're just showing you it again with 2 colours. So in actual fact, this ring here is when you change colour, but then it then depends on whether you want. How can I show you this? You can see the purple here, or the dark blue. It depends on whether you want this ring that's under my left thumb here, which is a pale blue, to be purple, or whether you want it to be a different colour. It's turned out they're a different colour for me because I didn't realise, if you like, I could make purple and purple there. So you got like a purple circle, and then a black circle, then a red one, then a green one, etc. But I think this looks more colourful like this. But the only way I've learned that is by doing it. So I didn't find it fantastically very easy. I suppose I could actually have looked up some of that on the internet. There's quite a few videos on the internet. Certainly I've seen this one done on the internet that I'm doing here quite a bit. In actual fact, now that I'm doing it, what I'm doing here is essentially the same as I was doing with that, except there's this gold colour here spaces out the blocks where that's missing in that one, so they're just really close to each other. So it's essentially the same thing, but just spaced out a little. Eddie Fall Guy, good evening, or good afternoon rather, because I know you're in the UK. Welcome to the studio this afternoon. That, by the way, is the guy that inspired me to actually try this. So you guys, if you find this stuff fascinating, which hopefully you do because you're watching me, check out Eddie Fall Guy there. He's been doing this for some time. In fact, he's making a shop or a stall sign for. He goes to craft fairs and sells quite a lot of this stuff, and also takes commissions, by the way, just advertising for him. And he's making a shop stall sign out of this sort of stuff, which is quite cool. Amongst other things, of course, that he's making necklaces and bracelets and charms and all sorts of things. Check him out. Why am I doing that? It's the wrong colour. Let me say, talking to you guys, no concentrating on what I'm doing. There we go, take that out. I want the right colour. I did some surgery on the pliers, Lady Fall Guy. They're now quite a lot softer to close. I can do it with my little finger. I can't apply enough pressure with my little finger, but to hold. But I can close it now. So it's hopefully because my hand is sore from yesterday. So I don't actually think much to the Ring Lord's pliers. No, you're supposed to leave the ring on there, not take it away again. I finished the, well, it's probably obvious, AD, but I finished the thing, the article from yesterday, as my wife has just come back in. I finished the article from yesterday. The length, although it's the the typical length, shall we say, or was the typical length, looked a bit short to me. So I did modify it slightly, which I'll show you in a moment. I'll just put this ring on just over the end of there, just to hold it. So I just added a little bit of that to the end, both ends actually, so it looks balanced. And I used the free gift as well. I thought both of those. Oh, they are both the same length. Yeah, so I used my free gift because I think it looked better than that to go on the end, but so folks, those that haven't seen this before, I made this yesterday. It took all of yesterday, about 10 hours altogether to do that. But this is one of the presents. The other one I'm currently making, and I bought some stuff from AD Fall Guy there, some bag charms, which is what started the whole thing. It did. On my streams, I quite often encourage some of the artists, once they ask, to show pieces of their work, and AD showed me a couple of his bag charms, and I know AD sells stuff, and I said I'd buy them, and then he gave me the option of which 2 of the 4 colours he had, and my answer to that was going to have all of them. And that's then I've watched him before make these sorts of things, but having seen those, and I got really interested in trying it. So whilst it looks easy, it's not actually as easy as it looks. I can tell you that now from experience. Yeah, well, I'll dig another one of those out in a moment. Oh, it's there. Ah dear, that's the frustrating bit. Now then, that means there is a ring somewhere. Ah, there it is. When I'm carving, people ask me if I need patience for carving, or even the other things like the pyrography. And my answer to that usually is no, you don't, because you're always doing something, you're always achieving something. And therefore, there's no real need for patience as such. Something's always going on. I am discovering the need for patience doing this. When things like that, you drop it slightly, or a ring just decides it's going to go sliding off, or just won't quite go where you want it to go, that's when you need patience. They're only bits of metal, but they have a mind of their own, and that mind is to frustrate you as much as possible. Yeah, 2 in 2 chain, yeah, box chain, Byzantine. Trying to make Yorkshire, yeah, trying's the word with those sometimes. It's kind of like you either have the knack of making Yorkshire puddings or you don't. I can't say whether I have or not. I've only made them once and I was lucky. Oops. I need some more rings. In case you possibly won't be able to tell, but these aren't actually silver, they're a lavender colour. Which is a nice colour. Right, okay. It's one reason why needle nose pliers like this are not very good for this. AD, if he was doing it, would have discarded that ring. Actually, I will put it to one side and I may use it depending on how many I've got left, because that snap that you heard was actually the pliers clapping together, but they did it by sliding off the ring, which then puts the sharp edge of the pliers against the ring itself and scratches it basically. Sometimes it can be a deep enough scratch to take the colour off, but generally speaking you can feel the scratch as well, which makes it feel a little rough. While you're not putting pressure on, you know, a sort of small slip just like off there isn't really enough to do anything, but when you're really holding them tight, then you can take a sizable sliver of material off. I know this because I discovered that yesterday. So all I'm doing here is preparing some rings, opening some, closing others. Closing them because I don't. Whilst I could work with all open rings, by closing them here, it's easier to close them when they're not wrapped around half a dozen other rings. You have a lot more space. It's a lot easier to do. So I can just. There's a couple of places where I can just loop over a closed ring. I don't need an open one. Oh, you've started the gluten-free stuff as well, have you? Yeah, I think it's the gluten that partially holds them together, isn't it? What is Yorkshire pudding? Yorkshire pudding is a flour. Actually, I don't know what goes into it. So certainly a flour and water mix. How do you describe it? I can't actually describe what a Yorkshire pudding is. Now that's really daft. But yeah, I'm trying to think what the batter's made out of. No, I hadn't answered it. You then get a sort of a slightly soft and, well, what you should get with the Yorkshire pudding is a soft bottom with crispy sides. It's done in generally like large buntins, and they come from small up to fairly big sizes, and they're essentially puffed out as well. And generally speaking, the big ones, a lot of time in Yorkshire, the really big ones, which are about sort of a small plate sized, you'll fill them with gravy and onions and bit of roast beef, and just eat them like that. But you can also get little ones, which are kind of like substitutes almost for potatoes in a meal. Flour, I couldn't remember if there was any egg in there, but obviously it does make sense because egg would be the binding. Originally, Yorkshire pudding, a bit like rice, was thought up of, shall we say, as a filler. So you didn't eat as much of the meat. So when back in olden times, when meat was just as expensive as it is now, or more so, and harder to come across, your Yorkshire pudding would be the first course of the meal, and then you'd basically be full, filled up with the Yorkshire pudding and gravy. It was the meat gravy was used at that point, and then you'd have a lot smaller portion of meat. And rice in sort of Chinese cookery, for example, is used in a similar way. Or was used in a similar way. Nowadays, small Yorkshire puddings get used as an accompaniment, but they are, it is often used almost as a meal in itself. As I say, a large one filled with gravy, some fried or otherwise cooked onions, and sometimes a little bit of the beef will get put in. Traditionally it's beef, it doesn't have to be, it could be any meat. And I would say they probably taste nicer than they sound. Do a couple more of these gold ones, and then we'll do a little bit more on there. Add a little bit more to the length. My wife, who can't understand why people watch Twitch or even broadcast on Twitch, for example, it sounds like she's listening to stuff on YouTube of concerts, recorded, recorded bits of concerts and things like that. Kind of. Those who were around earlier for the discussion. You kind of, yeah. I can't follow how somebody can watch a bit of a concert that's gone on, yeah, that she's not been to, and not understand why somebody would want to watch somebody doing, something like this, for example, or watch somebody playing a game. That's true, Eddie, actually. It is. And often the big flat pan ones are good done that way. Using a great big sort of 1 foot square pan or something of that sort of size. I'd forgotten about that because, yes, I've done that. I've had those before in the past. I mean, even just literally sort of just not necessarily cold. You can do it warm. I don't think you're a Yorkshireman, are you, Adi Fall Guy? You don't often hear of wrong colour. I don't often hear of non-Yorkshire people doing things like that. Spread over with jam, but yeah. You can actually turn it into a dessert as well with, if you used sort of like cooked apple or something like that. You could, I'm going to say, you can almost substitute it for bread and butter pudding. Yeah. Just like good food, yeah, and Yorkshire pudding is good food. Maybe not so much if you're actually on a diet, by the way, but well, you'll have to tell us how the gluten-free flour handles it, Eddie. Calm down. I actually don't have a very good threshold for frustration. I can sit and do this all day, but when it starts, a ring just won't go where you want it to go, or something like that, I can very quickly, the adrenaline very quickly builds up in me. I can feel it getting to me. Right, just excuse me a moment, I'm going to open some windows. It's getting a little bit warm here in the studio. And if I don't open the windows now, by the time it gets to this evening stream, it'll be really uncomfortable in here. Well, the daft thing is I have absolutely no idea where the heat's coming from. Yeah, seafood diet. Okay, I hadn't realised that. I think I've seen you discussing it with Gluten-Free Gamer, AD. And yes, of course, now remember, save. Now that you've just mentioned that, I recall, of course, that's precisely what you were discussing, the fact that your daughter was intolerant to gluten. So 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, that's 7. Eight. Okay. It's a long time since I've made it. Even when it comes to pancake day, I have to keep looking up the recipe because I can never remember how to make it. I don't do much fancy cooking these days. I tend to just fancy cooking, as in anything other than sort of a fairly simple meat and chips or meat and potatoes. That's about it. Sort of semi pre-prepared food almost. Right. Carry on. So, beef and yeah, I don't even do that these days. The traditional roast beef on Sunday. Sunday roast, complete with Yorkshire pudding. Maybe I'll have to start doing that again. But there again, if I did start doing that again, I wouldn't be able to stream quite so much. As it's me that does the cooking usually. Well, this is going faster than I expected. I'm not sure if that's because it's somewhat shorter, or I'm getting better at it, or just the pattern. Oh, there's some quite amazing stuff there, Eddie. I don't use Facebook a great deal, so it took me a little while to work out that what I actually needed to do was push the photo link to be able to see them. But yeah, that's where I saw when I saw the obviously the new bracelet that you've just done. And you do a lot of standard jewellery as well, don't you? Just wire jewellery, I noticed. And there's quite a few images of things like the earrings and things, which I don't quite know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting ring-based earrings, and of course they were all wire, or not all, but largely wire-based. I meant to actually take a look at your shop as well, but I got distracted by something else. You're quite welcome to post your Facebook link if you want, Eddie. I don't think I've got it. Okay. Ace of Buzzmores, thank you for following the studio this afternoon. That is most appreciated, thank you. Most excellent, sir. Madam. Cat. On the internet, nobody can tell you're a cat. Yeah. To paraphrase something that another streamer uses occasionally. Right, okay, let's put these on and then I'll prepare some more rings before I fold these. Here's the Buzzmore. So while I'm doing this at the moment, this is only the second time I've tried. Well, third stream, second day of me trying this. I did this yesterday, so this at the moment isn't something I do regularly. I may well do so because I am enjoying it, but generally speaking, I will be involved in things like carving and pyrography. Scraper board and punchcraft, but I may well add doing this from time to time into that list as well, because I am enjoying it so much, thanks to Eddie Full Guy there, whom I recommend you check out, because he does this stuff quite a lot. He's got some really nice pieces. Somewhere in this ball there's a link. There we go. Yeah. Why can't they come all separated? Oh dear. I know why, it's just already become a point of frustration. I think that was the right one. You ever tried nylon nosed pliers, 84 guy? Because I noticed there's some of those available, which of course would be less prone to damaging the rings even if they did slip. Two, 4, 6, 8, yeah. Hello Kitty Cakes 55, welcome back again. Okay. Well, maybe one of these days I might, if I really get into this I might try. Although they tend to be wide-nosed things, so they'd possibly be a bit more of a pain in the neck. Yeah, it's like the nail puzzles. They actually will only go together if you in that one particular orientation, which is like this. And I probably can't get hold of it again. But they'll only slip together if you hold the rings just perfectly like that, and then they'll slip apart just as easily. And once you get it right, there. Like the nail puzzles, but somehow when they're in a bag or a box or whatever, they manage to do that a surprisingly amount of time just to line up just perfectly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, one more for that. That makes an even number of those because all of these are in twos. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Ooh. An exact number. That was convenient. So let's do a few of these now, because that's all the lavender ones I've got. So that determines the maximum that I can use. Actually, I don't know how long this wants to be. This is the difficulty. I'll have to maybe see if I can find an existing bracelet and measure it, because I don't actually know what size bracelet my wife takes. Generally speaking, when I've bought them in the past, it's been bought to size, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. And of course, too short and it won't fit, and too narrow, sorry, too long and it falls off. Where's my ruler? See how long this one is. We're at 6 inches there. I think 7.5, somewhere between 7 and 8 seems to be, I think, an average length for bracelets. Yeah, that's true. The only slight difficulty with that 84 guy is my wife and I will be away on the day it's her birthday. Taking a couple of days off work just around there, so I'll be coming home because I'm going to be away for work as well. Coming home for a few days for us to go away for her birthday, and then going back to work again, immediately getting back in the car and disappearing. But of course, being away, and if I give them to her on her birthday, she'll want to wear them. Don't really want to take the pliers with me. Might have to do that though. Sneak them into the luggage without her wondering, why have you bringing pliers? It's not really the sort of thing you normally take when you go away for a short break. Well, I guess you may do, but generally speaking, I just take a book. I beg your pardon, you're coming back upstairs and what?
Even though Will's on the telephone.
Oh, okay, you're not watching the television then?
No, I'm taking it.
Oh, okay.
I need to get on.
One of my wife's favourite musical artists is on the television at the moment, but she's decided to tape it, which means she's back in the other room, so we go back into secret squirrel mode. Yeah. When I do go away on holiday, I can't sit still. I always have to be doing something. Generally speaking, I read a book, or I draw, or try and draw, because I ain't that good at it. I'm not good at. I can draw, but I can't draw scenes, so that's the sort of thing I need to practice. But I always have to be doing something. But I'm not quite sure I'm ready to take this and do this. Mind you, you never know. I mean, the ability to go somewhere and make something like this during the day, and then someone would be able to display it in the evening. Could be quite a nice thing to do on a break. What I might have to do is sneak them and them together. Either or find a professional who has the appropriate tools and borrow them. That's kind of what I was thinking. And I suppose it ultimately really depends on wastage rates, doesn't it? So the nice thing about this particular one, if I forget to put them on as I did, I can always put them on the next one. Cryptic comment there, of course. Actually, this might be easier doing it this way. Yeah. You can also play tiddlywinks with them. Nearly forgot. Right, I shall swap that. I've got plenty, so try it again. Third time lucky, perhaps? Yep. Just need another one. Why did I do that? I don't know. I was just wondering then whether you could keep these on like a wire, whether that would stop them tangling, but probably not actually. It's amazing, in a lot of crafts there's little things like if you could only stop tangling or stop something in a lot of crafts, it wouldn't have make them a lot of what's it, easier but less frustrating at times. Asuna Mikasa Storm, good afternoon, welcome to the studio. Thank you very much. It is quite cool as well. Yes, it's not cold, but it's quite cool. Sorry, I couldn't resist. If I'm doing pyrography, I would disagree with you completely. I'd say it's really hot. But yeah, thank you for that. I'm being a little bit cryptic, I'm afraid, because as it says at the top of the screen, what I'm doing here is a present for my wife, and she's actually working in the other room. Just a dear, just across from me, and she can hear. So I am, well, she knows I'm making something. She doesn't know what it is, has no idea what it might be, and therefore I'm being cryptic in order that she doesn't find out before then. That one was trying to make its bid for freedom. It didn't succeed, but that's the last one that I have. Which means that's the end one. Asuna Mikasa Storm, thank you very much for following the studio this afternoon. That's absolutely brilliant of you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying what you're looking at. Although I must say, I am new to this. This is my third stream doing this sort of thing, and only the second thing I've made, so it's also the second day. Whilst I may well do some more of this in the future, well, I'm definitely going to be doing some more of this in the future because I really like doing it. I do also do other things generally on stream as well. Carving, pyrography, scraperboard and punchcraft. I didn't, did I? I did. But I've no idea where. Oh, sugar. What I'm saying there is I cracked off, we slipped off a couple of these a little earlier. Potentially scratching them. I couldn't see anything, but potentially scratching them. And I put them to one side. I've gone and accidentally used them, but I have absolutely no idea where, so I can't even replace them. I guess what I should do is keep a nice round file, or even a square one would do, into which they can be permanently consigned. Okay, so that's the end of it. Let's see how long that is. I'm English. I'll measure it in the inches measurements. So that'll be 8. Another ring for that. So it's going to be what, 8.5? Is that so? That may or may not be too long. We shall have to see. I need to put another ring on there just to turn it, and also to, actually, will it need turning? Because if I recall correctly, these will always tend to lay like that. So that side's kind of okay, although it maybe doesn't want 2 on it, but this one, no. Okay, I'm going to have to put 1 on each side, I think. Have I got that right? Yeah, I'm going to have to put no, I'm going to put 1 on that side. And that's it there. Yeah, 1 on that side. That side's okay. Right. Oh, alternatively, one on this side and that side's okay. I'll put it on this side. Because I can't get two through that tiny hole. And I think for it to lie flat, I'm going to need to have turned through 90 degrees. Mind you, the chances of it ever being, with something like this ever going on, not twisted, I guess is quite low. And there we go. How about that? So there's that one. And then we have that one there. So now you guys can see what my wife isn't allowed to for a little period of time.
Apologise to everybody.
That's okay. I don't think they mind. I think they quite enjoy the intrigue. There we are. So I am really pleased with both of those. I'm getting all fancy now, laying it out like in a shop. Let's give you a little bit of a more closer look at that. See if I can persuade this thing to there we go, to be reasonably focused. I'm quite proud of that. I love how soft it is as well. And there we go. Right, so let's now hide these. I suppose I should get all fancy and do some card mounts. And perhaps I should take some photographs as well for later, but anyway, for the moment, that's one. And that's t'other, as I say up here. And we will just put these away. And then we'll do something slightly different for a little while. At least I've got some things to experiment with as well. Actually, that gives me an idea because I have that. I was going to do something slightly different for a while, but actually I am thinking of maybe making use of this, although I don't, it's colour, but never mind. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, so what were these? I don't actually remember what size they were. Did it tell me? Did it tell me? Right. I'm just going to get a calculator. And so 15 times... Oh no, that's... Excuse me whilst I just do some maths. Oh well, that's about, yeah, okay. What I'm going to do is just do something really simple. Since I have this and I've got that, kind of, why not make some sort of use of it? So that's precisely what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn two things into three. So we're staying in secret squirrel mode for the moment. And we're just going to do something really simple. I've probably just got enough for that material here. if the mask that I did was anything like accurate. We'll use the complete stuff that I've got here to do that, but that's alright. It's all thanks to a free gift from the place I got the kit. Okay, let's do some of this. Nothing fancy. That would be silly, since it's supposed to go on there. Ah, she looks quite pretty. Right, for about 10 minutes we don't need to be particularly secretive. So all I'm doing is just going to make a simple chain. I've got these pieces left over. I happen to have got a spare, it's a silver clasp, and I might actually switch it for the other one, which is gold. I'm not sure. I might just buy a new one. But with having these left over, I calculate it should come out about 7.5 inches, just slightly over with the number that I've got left. So it's kind of like an extra birthday present that I hadn't expected. So we'll just prepare all the rings and then we'll put the rest of them together. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 3 of these. Right. There we go. Right, we shall just add them to the end of here. Bug, sorry, I'm just busy, well, sort of getting lost in what I'm doing, really. Welcome to the studio this afternoon. Nice to have you around. He's having his Sunday lunch. What am I going to be having? Sausages and garlic bread, I think, from Haiti. Which we'll see about getting soon. So just a real simple chain, as I've got rings left over and I happen to have a spare clasp. Might look, it's going to look odd with the silver. I might swap it for the one that's on the other bracelet, I think. Don't particularly think silver or gold, well, gold will make much difference in impact on the other one, but this one, a silver might look a little bit silly. Pity I didn't actually have some finer rings, because I could have made like a safety chain for the either for the necklace or for the bracelet. Mind you, there again, you can buy that stuff as well fairly cheaply. Thin chain like that. No, that one is scratched too badly. And that one wants to get away from me. Just slightly under 7 inch. Oh well. That's 8 inch. I'll take some of that off. I'm now wondering is whether to swap that gold clasp there for this silver one and use the gold one on here. I don't know. I don't know. The gold one kind of would look part of it, even though these are lavender. Sorry, the silver one would look part of it, even though these are lavender, just because of the spacing out. And I can use the gold one on here, because I think silver on this probably wouldn't look great. Yeah, it does, but that's what happens to be in the fridge, 84 guy, is we've got some garlic bread, and it's cheese and garlic bread and the sausages. And actually I'm being a bit lazy because I can just throw them all into the oven. Let's have a look at it. Hey. that's right. It is. Okay, that means there's a ring missing off the end of that. Isn't going to be in a moment. We shall put one on. And what I'm just looking at there is I'm going to get this off of here. Come on, let go. Just bear with me a second. This clasp okay, I'll turn it on its side then. For this clasp to lay on its side like that and have this laid like that also on its side, so when you curl this around, if it's going to sit on a wrist flat, then the lobster clasp has to sit like that, well, whichever way it is, but you know, sit like that if you like. In practice you rotate this through 90 degrees, but as you can see, for it to be flat however it is, that clasp won't go into there, it would have to be twisted, so the bracelet won't sit flat. So what I'm going to have to do is put an extra ring in here like that. Now I could use two, but I'm going to use one because it's actually easier to get the clasp in into one. But now when it lies flat, what we've got is we've got this ring here. It says trying to get hold of it. But this ring now in theory wants to sit vertical like this, so the clasp will then go into it and the whole piece is flat. So if it were to sit on a wrist, your wrist was in there, it would sit like this, and then if I get this the right way, just tease the thing around. Come on. It then sits like that with the clasp on your wrist, if you see what I mean, in the middle there, without the thing twisting. Not that you probably feel it, but Eddie thinks the silver will look odd in either. I assume you meant odd, Eddie, and Great Hoser says he thinks the gold looks better in both, and I actually agree with both of you. So what I'll do is I'll order a new one or I'll go down to a local jeweller's and see if they've got one. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad, but it's kind of stands out too much compared with the others because these are a paler colour, so I still need to put that ring on there, so let me swap this back because this is the actual one. This is where it is important. Here I am trying to put this back on the way it came off. It doesn't kind of matter. Oh dear, silly details sometimes. Not that anybody very likely is going to spend time sorting out which is the when you actually put it on. You know, most people are not going to spend time trying to work out which it is. They'll just put it on and it'll be all twisted anyway, but what the heck. God blimey. There we go. So yeah, I'd like a gold one on here for the minute. I'm just going to put these on just for the moment, but I will get a gold one for this. Just a nice simple chain though. And I've absolutely no idea whether that's going to be which way round that is, but and this one is probably too long. Yeah, it's, I mean, yeah, it certainly wants shortening. Does this? This is 8.5 inches. It wants probably at least half an inch off it. But what I'll do is I'm gonna see if I can borrow one of her bracelets that she wears and just see how long it is. And then it will tell me if this, how much to shorten this one by, and whether or not I need to actually make that one a little bit longer, in which case this one won't be well, if I have to make that one longer, then I'll probably need to use the some links from this, which means it won't be long enough. But there we go, a possible extra present. I was looking to see if there were, but daft as it sounds, I know one's longer than the other, but I'd be hard pressed to tell. The thin one's a bit floppy, but there we go. An extra gift out of the spare material. The Brilliant Bacon, good evening, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream this evening, or this afternoon. Unfortunately, you're just approaching the end of it now, but yeah, you did me nod. That's I thought you did. Yeah, I'll get a different one. To some extent, yeah, it looks a bit odd, but it doesn't look bad. I've seen worse. Yeah, that's right. It's crafted well anyway. I mean, this Byzantine weave anyway is kind of hard to see when it's twisted. I mean, it's a square. It's a square. Yeah, shape. But with the links, you'd be hard pressed to tell if it was twisted in the middle. Anyway, so it won't stand out like some of the ones, like the box weave would do. If it was twisted, you'd probably see it quite easily. But you know what that means, AD, though. It means I'll be placing an order sooner than I intended. There we go. Anyway. Yep, Eddie's right, thanks, yes. Yeah, not a Mother's Day. A birthday gift for my wife. She's downstairs at the moment doing something else, so she can't actually hear. She knows I'm making something, but she does not know what it is. So just since I'll get it out again. Made this yesterday. There. I made the bracelet today, and then with the leftover rings I've just made another one, which I need to swap the clasp on, but we'll sort that out later. So some jewellery together with together with something I momentarily lost. But together with these, where can I put them there? Which were made by Eddie Fall Guy, who is on in chat. These bag charms. Oh, you, you know the evil thought that just crossed my mind, Eddie, but the silver. And they wouldn't look as good, but yeah. These were made by Eddie Fall Guy. These were made by me. That's my wife's birthday present for this year. So having seen these four, and watching Eddie make things like this and his chainmail sign, it just fascinated me enough to want to try, and so I. Two birds with one stone, you might say. Got to try it and got to make something which she's going to absolutely go potty over. I know she's going to want more when she sees them. Ah dear. Thank you, the Brilliant Bacon. Thank you, Night Watch. Thank you, Tillybug. I try to be the Brilliant Bacon. Try to be. Sometimes better than others. Yeah, things like memory and a sieve come to mind. But I've sort of remembered in plenty of time this year. Not that I've actually forgotten before now, but it's been close sometimes. Actually, I put them all back in clear bags now, but and that as a necklace still doesn't look long enough to me. I mean, it must be something like about 19 inches this now, or even 20. But I must have a really fat neck, because I just tried it against me last night, and it's almost choker length for me. In fact, I'm not altogether sure this one would go around my wrist. Oh, it would, just. Literally. I probably couldn't fasten it myself, but it does go around. Almost exactly, yeah. Let's see if I can turn it over there. That ring, it would just exactly go on me. Let me put it back together. That's okay, we'll go back to secret squirrel mode for a little while.
Oh.
Why, were you hoping to sneak up to hear something?
No.
I'm only teasing you.
I feel guilty about interrupting you.
No, don't worry about it. It's part of the fun.
I have to do some work.
Part of the fun. There we go, right. Anyway. There we go. That would be really nice, Adi, thank you. I do, but I didn't want to do it just yet. So I can always send you one back if you have a spare. That would be fantastic, thank you. Right, time to put things to bed, I'm afraid. So we shall. Of course, what I'm going to do is wrap these up one at a time as well. I'll put that there. And that one in there. And some lovely packaging here from the gentleman in the stream. Which I've just realised is custom designed. I thought it was an extreme coincidence. And I'll just slip this into here for the moment. And there we go. Now remove all evidence. Right, well, gentlemen and ladies and fluffy kitty cats and hairy dogs and what have you. Okay, well, you would have fooled me, to be honest. You would have fooled me. If you look at Eddie's either Etsy shop or his Facebook page, you'll see why. With the design there of the rose. Yeah, ladies, gentlemen, and all animals. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get myself some tea. It's now coming up to 5:30 in the UK. I shall hide these away in plain sight so my wife can't see them. She's notoriously what's the word I'm looking for? Notoriously, she can't see things that are right in front of her eyes. Best place to hide anything. But I'm going to put these away. I'm going to get myself some tea. I shall be back later on. I'm not sure whether it'll be carving or the punchcraft. I suspect it'll be punchcraft tonight. I'll have a rest, a little bit more of a rest, and hopefully the stomach muscles will recover a little bit more, so that we can go to carving tomorrow night and carry on from there. In the meantime, anybody who's watching, if you'd like to follow me, then that would be appreciated. And of course, in theory, Twitch will let you know when I go live, which generally speaking is around 8 PM in the UK, 1900 GMT, or in about 2.5 hours time. And if you'd like a little bit more of a reminder, you can follow me on Twitter. It's @ZaragonArt, although again the details for that are below the stream window. If you don't have me yet full screen, you can scroll down and just take a look. The details are in there. Apart from that, thank you all for watching. It has been fantastic having you all around whilst I make this birthday present and have you sharing the secret. It's been quite good fun, and I'll hope to see you on a future stream. Cheers everybody.